And we are live. Welcome back to the Wanna Parlay podcast. I'm Lantz Bell. Next to me is Jack Neuheisel. Jack, go ahead and tell the wonderful folks watching about the people that sponsor this podcast.
Welcome to the Tuesday show, ladies and gentlemen. As always, the show is brought to you by Wanna Parlay, home of the $2 parlay and the world's richest parlay, where every day people are turning $2 into $2,000. Just one day into our Wanna week, and already plenty of winners out there lining their pockets. You should be one of them. The main event is completely wide open right now. And other than that, we've got a great show for you guys today. Lucky enough to have our guy Tone hopefully coming back on the show, and our guy Papa to talk some NBA headlines and whatever else Lance has got prepared for us. And quick reminder before we hit it, we're starting to do some fun stuff with Hexhead. I had a great interview yesterday with David Smerlin, showing off his Packers Hexhead up there on the wall. Hopefully the people at Hexhead have heard our calls and they need us, and we're going to be doing more contests with them down the road. In the meantime, BOGO50, currently running buy one, get one over there at Hexhead. 50% off the second one. Good to be good. And again, going to be adding more contests in the future with Hexhead. Far more of Hexhead prizes to be auctioned off here in the near future. And that is it, Lance. Take us on the road. Let's do the podcast.
Let's go. It's another show, so that means we're starting right here at Accountability Time, Accountability Hour. I'll start off. The prop guy didn't deliver. He didn't deliver on his parlay. We thought we were going to get something, but going through some of these, and thank God you lined it out perfectly for me, Jack. Schroeder, 7 points. We're 1.5 points off. Yep, you got 1 for 6 and 3 missed free throws. So it's like, you know what? I did my job. Schroeder didn't do his.
That was the pick I defended, was the Schroeder one. So I was like looking early this morning to see if that covered. And I'm like, 7? What the fuck happened? Did he hardly play? No, he went 1 for 6 and missed 3 free throws and screwed us.
I mean, hey, like I said, we did our job. He didn't do his. Moving on to the next one. Tyler Hero over 3.5 threes. 0 for 9 from deep. Once again, we did our job. He didn't do his. 0 for 9 is diabolical, but hey, it happens. You know,
we knew he'd be hucking.
That's the point. Yeah. It's like we know he's the one guy, and he's going to be hucking. So 3-point contest winner to go for 9. Hurts. It hurts the soul. Moving on. Trae Young over 10.5 assists. Like I said, this guy just never has single-digit assists. He's just a baller. He's always hooping. Getting assists. He had 14. It's good stuff. Anthony Edwards, over 26.5 points. Now, I said in the show, the only way the Timberwolves beat the Thunder is if Anthony Edwards has over this mark. Well, Jack, they beat the Thunder after they choked a 20-point lead, and Anthony Edwards only had 17, so we lose. We're just a loser. 5 for 15, 4 missed free throws right there. Some tough stuff.
Pretty brutal. Like if you look at your 3 losers here, guys that you were counting on to score some points for you last night, and you add it up, we're looking at 6 of 30 from the fields. Tough night for the boys playing for Lance.
Man, I mean, sometimes it does and sometimes it don't. But Jalen Williams, hey, he had over 19.5 points. I mean, that. We were talking about it. Chet out. These guys are out. We need scoring. He did his job. He didn't go 1 for 6 or 0 for 9 or 5 for 15 like any of these chumps. So, 2 for 3. We'll be better. I like what we got tonight, and we'll get there later on the show. But, Jack, go ahead and tell us about your night.
It's fine. If you add up my last 2 shows, I'm batting 500. It's not great, but as you remember yesterday, Lance, there was some trash being talked in the chat, and it was important to me to dominate last night. And the picks I lose on are stuff I should have never trifled in. I'll start with the wins. Michigan minus 1.5 versus Nebraska. Low scoring, ugly, tough to watch game, but never once felt at risk. Michigan is damn good. I will say the last couple times that I've watched them, I worry against some of these athletic teams coming from the SEC here soon. They're going to be a guy short. So I don't know where my confidence is with them as a national championship contender, but good effort last night. Nice cover on the road at Nebraska. Way to go. It got all the way to this morning. Nationals, Marlins, spring baseball, getting a little citrus league going. As I said, the Nationals are young and fun, and they're trying to get their guys in some confident spots right now to enter this lineup and get off to a hot April. So easy one, they win 14-7. The Yankees game yesterday was rained out, so they ended up rolling their lineup over a day to see all those guys get their start. So it was not the lineup that I anticipated, where we had a little bit more of our day one starters. I still own it. We end up getting walked off in the ninth inning to lose 5-4. You hate to see it. And then let's talk about the hoops games. Houston, I'm an idiot. I've loved Houston. I've talked at length about how lousy the Big 12 is this year once you get past Houston. And I go trusting the numbers, the stupid numbers. 82% of the public was on Houston, so I went and took Tech minus 1.5. I will say it was a dagger 3 that cost us this bet. It was a one-possession game with 45 seconds left to go, and Houston comes down, makes it a 6-point game with just a fucking heartbreaker. But at no point in watching that game did I feel like I was on the right side. Houston, clearly the better team, clearly the better bet. Unfortunately, just didn't have the action to be able to go and switch sides. Just had to sit there and take it. And then Pacers plus 4.5 versus Nuggets. I liked the logic of this bet, and so I tried not to let the stupid things get in the way. But it's just a tough spot to get into the Nuggets, and ultimately it's dumb. Coming off a loss against the Lakers, where they got a little bit embarrassed, they were going to respond with a good effort, and they did. This is not a rut. This was a one spot against the Lakers, and bad spot to be betting Pacers. So damn it. And so in total, 2 and 3, Lance. Takes me to 500. Takes me to 500 for the last 2 times out. I'm not a loser, Carterado, but it's something. It's something. It's a big night, is what it is. It's a big night.
Hey, you know what?
Gotta get right.
We're proud gentlemen over here, because when we make a dumb bet, we just take it on the chin. We own it. We wear it. We don't come up with little excuses or anything. It's right. It's all right there. We tell you how it is. Going through, I have a couple questions. So you're saying the Michigan kind of like guy short, talking about the national championship run. My question, how deep do they go in college rotations in March? Are they same as NBA, about 7?
So it's been interesting. Traditionally, I don't know how much that was the case. I think it's more team basketball and college basketball, but the last 2 years have been these UConn teams that 1 through 5 are incredible. You're getting double-digit scoring out of a lot of them. You're not necessarily top-end lottery picks, but Klingon, Seven Castle, all those guys were top 12 picks this year going into that draft. So damn good teams. And as you look at it across the board, you don't need bona fide NBA guys. Kentucky, I'm not sure, has a draftable player on their team. I think the stars of Auburn, a lot of them aren't necessarily top-of-the-line NBA prospects, but they're damn good college players. And yeah, the depth of Auburn, the depth of some of these SEC teams, Florida. I look at Michigan. If Danny Wolf's not feeding you lunch and Vladislav Golden gets into foul trouble, then where is it coming from? And I worry it's a lot of 6'3" guards that are you can see how they're going to lose very easily. And I'm starting to see less and less how they're going to go beat Auburn, Duke, Florida.
I see what you're
the
saying.
Top end of the country right now.
All right, that makes sense. And then looking at your other bets, I mean, the losing on a walk-off, like, what are you going to do? That's tough stuff, especially when it wasn't even the lineup you were talking about, like that. You got to sit on it. Frankly, it was frustrating all day because there was nothing else to watch. I had it on in the background, and it was the Yankees would go ahead by 1, they'd come tie it up. Yankees go ahead by 2, they come back and tie it up, and then we get walked off in the after hitting a warning ball shot to get out of the top of the 9th, walked off in the bottom. Oh, that's brutal stuff.
That's tough.
Well,
it's spring ball. It's stupid to be betting on, but it's the morning, so this is what we do for a living. So, God damn it, we're doing it.
Exactly. I love it. All right. Well, we got a few topics to talk about. I know we were trying to save it for Tone and our boy Papa, but they're not really here at the moment. So
yeah, let's get into the show.
I want to talk last night about Timberwolves versus Thunder, because I watched that game not very closely, but it was on because the whole time it was about 20-point lead that the Thunder had. They were just kind of kicking the shit out of the Timberwolves all night. And just that was the pace of the game. Like, that's how it went, especially the start of the second half. Like, they pulled away. Sitting there kind of looking over. I actually threw on plus 13.5 live bet and was like, oh, this was the dumbest bet I've ever made in my life. Like, what am I just, stop. Oh, here's Papa. Here he is. I'll bring him in. I got to keep talking about
going down.
There he is. Papa.
Best looking guy in sports media. Welcome to the show.
Oh, come on, Mark. What time would I have to meet you?
He doesn't even know he's in here, bro. I'm putting him back in the waiting room. He's got a little Bo Nix picture. I mean, get that guy out of here. So, Jack, the Thunder have a lead. They're in the fourth quarter. All they got to do is, keep the lead, maintain it, play good basketball. The reserves for the T-Wolves start fighting, clawing, and kind of make it, that awkward 12, 13-point game. You got to take the timeout. There's 5 minutes left in the game. Like, let's close the game. Let's get it over with.
Yeah. To be clear, it's a 22-point margin going into the fourth quarter. I just pulled up the game.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
22-point game going into the fourth.
Yeah, so this wasn't a close game, really, for most of the game. So then we get to that awkward spot. It's like 5 minutes left, and I'm watching. Now I'm starting to pay more attention. I'm like, can they really come back? All right, we got a text from Papa, so maybe now he knows. Oh, does he know he's on the call?
I do.
There he is. Can we get a camera on and horizontal?
Camera on and horizontal. Got it.
There he is. So to keep there he is.
There he is.
Oh, well, LA Fire Department.
Absolutely.
Come on, Rams house, baby. Oh.
There it is. There. Oh, we got stuff to talk about, Ram. I'm going over OKC Thunder and Thunder T-Wolves last night and why the Lakers will beat them in a playoff series. So they
22 points entering the fourth with 6 minutes left in the game. Still a 17-point game here. Advantage Thunder.
And Shai Gilgeous, so their basketball towards the end of the game is kind of just ISO. Let's let Shai, win us the game or, hit open guys, whatever. The end of the games is kind of like what we're going to see in playoff basketball, where the refs don't give you nearly as many whistles. They don't give you the love. No. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander right now, almost in a lot different style of play, looks like 2018 Harden. It's kind of, he's the guy and he's over there and he does all the moves. He's playing one-on-one, gets the foul, shoots a lot of free throws. That shit is not going to fly in the playoffs. And he's going to be going against Luka Doncic and LeBron James, who has never needed fouls in their career to be successful. I'm worried for Shai, and obviously as a Laker fan, not really worried. I'm stoked, but he's not going to get nearly the calls he gets in the regular season in the playoffs. And nobody talks about this. I haven't seen this anywhere else in the media. They haven't even brought this up. So now whenever I'm hearing arguments, that's the argument. He's not going to get any of the foul love in the playoffs, and I don't see them taking it to a game 7. I think they would beat over in 6 if they matched up with the Lakers right now. Those are my thoughts about Shai, the OKC Thunder. What do you guys think?
And Papa, before I let you take off, I'm just going to throw these crazy numbers out there as well. Only 4 points for the Thunder last night in the last 6.5 minutes of the game. 0 points scored after 3 minutes, 55 seconds left in the game. And when the NBA playoffs roll around, it becomes these fourth quarters and all these possessions get magnified. I agree. This is concerning and also doesn't look like MVP basketball to me. Papa, your microphone.
Listen, different team. We saw the Thunder against Luka last year in the playoffs, did we not? Different teams. The Thunder a bit better. I don't think they got the experience they needed last year. And Luka's on a better team objectively. Sure, no Kyrie, whatever. They were meshing last year. But at the end of the day, you got Luka Doncic, one of the most cold-blooded killers in the whole league. And he's going to find a way to finish games. And like you said, it's a regular season game against the Timberwolves, where they're double-digit favorites. Sure, it's not the end of the world, but you can't finish them off then when you're leading that big. How are you going to finish off LeBron and Luka and all these guys, that...
And no whistle. That's my big my big point. I'm like, they're not going to give him the whistle. They've never given a star
whistle, the different whistle. It's a different game.
And they've never given it to the stars in the playoffs ever. Right? There's no superstar like the ones I'm talking like the James Hardens of the world. Maybe even I didn't watch ball when Iverson was in his prime, but like the guys that like kind of get fouls and they don't
rely on the free throw line to get their box score.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like,
give it.
Embiid was another one. He lives on the free throw line as a center, and a lot of those playoff series. This is why he hasn't made it out of the second round. So That's my new stance on the OKC Thunder and the Lakers, because that seems to be the one everyone talks about as what we're going to see in the Western Conference Finals.
So I'm going to throw a stray at Russell Westbrook for absolutely no reason, but just use this as a bigger metaphor. The Oklahoma City Thunder, who were made and modeled on the image of Russell Westbrook, it's the same thing. And it's Russell Westbrook for years throughout his prime. Undoubtedly MVP level seasons, undoubtedly must-see TV, but you never once thought it was going to translate to the postseason because you saw it for what it was. It was a bunch of guys, for the most part, taking possessions off, probably given 80% of 100% of a game, and he was going 100 miles an hour from start to finish. And it's like, well, who's getting in the way of that? Who's taking the defensive responsibility to go slide and go get in the way of that? Everyone was making business decisions left and right, but at no point, because the shooting wasn't there. You go to the playoffs and all of a sudden everyone's sagging off them and daring them to shoot threes, and it never once got past the Western Conference Finals for Russell Westbrook, be it on OKC or even Houston. And I see the same problems with OKC this year, and it's not their problem, but I think we're getting fooled a little bit by this freak run they're on, where it's just youth. They've got great youth. They've got somehow this mature and experienced youth, a bunch of guys who've been playing since they're 19. So now when their average age of their team is 24, it's actually a veteran squad, but they're younger than everybody. Their star players are young, and they're playing hard, good minutes, which good for them. We need more of that in the NBA. But the idea that that's going to be what's going to show up in the playoffs, I'll believe it when I see it. I have 3 teams in the West I would be taking in a series over OKC.
Don't get me wrong. The Thunder have a future. They're building something that could win, but it's just not their year. As well as they're doing in the regular season, I just can't see them winning this year. Same as the Cavs, different story, different team.
The Cavs one's interesting. The Cavs one is interesting because I just don't believe in Boston that much. I think last year was a little bit of a cupcake. Like, they didn't play any serious legendary team. Who did they play?
Giannis was hurt. Dame was hurt. You can name off all the
we could go through
that were hurt.
We could go through the series, and then the Knicks. They were supposed to be the big one to show up. They lose in 7 to the Pacers by like 40 points on a fluke game, and we don't even get like a good Eastern Conference. So that's why I'm like, the Cavs might sneak their way in the finals. Oh, and this honestly leads us into our next topic. The Jason Tatum doesn't feel appreciated by NBA fans, He claims if you took names away and compared resume by player A and player B, he would have more respect. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think?
It's an unfortunate fact about him. He's just boring as hell. It's always been boring. I've never cared.
And he's corny, boring and corny. Like saying things like that doesn't help your case at all. I mean, copying 3 final celebrations, trying to make it your own. His one good thing he did was have a picture with his kid in the finals, and everyone's like brushed past that because he's just a cornball. He's not
as well. Some of the early Kobe Bryant stuff with him, where he was like the next in line for the Mamba mentality and that sort of thing. And he was a guy too, where I felt like at some point the pendulum will swing back to him and he'll get his roses. But he was that guy for forever, where he's like, and he's only 21. And it's like, I'm very familiar with his age. You guys remind me of it every single highlight I watch of him. It's fine. There's a bunch of guys doing that, by the way. You've seen Ja Morant? That's what I want to watch.
I guess Jalen Brown flowers more than Tatum.
No, okay, so 100%. My thing is I can understand where it feels like some of his greatness has been taken away because he's in a great organization and he has great teammates his entire career. He's had a good roster his entire
his team,
Yeah, he brings, and that's where I'm like, he brings up the Kobes, the LeBrons, like some of these cats. I'm like, these guys in the beginning, like if you look at their said careers, like they had to fight. And Kobe's is a little finicky, but
Kobe's kind of opposite.
Yeah,
he's
he
like
gets
in the middle of where he's carried.
After Shaq. But these guys. Oh, go ahead, Jack.
In that finals run, there just was nothing heroic from him either year.
No.
Both trips to the finals, he was coming under his season averages. Never once kind of a signature moment in either one of those series.
He had the record-breaking, I think it was 50 in a Game 7, but it wasn't. I don't think it was a competitive game, and they were supposed to win the series easily. I can't remember. So he has a couple of them. But it's never, you never feel like this whole last postseason, you never knew who was the one. People were arguing that Derek White you could argue was the one on the team.
Yeah,
Jaylen Brown not only won Finals MVP, guys, he won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Like, it wasn't even like...
That's what I was kind of saying. Like, when you go to the parade for that Celtics Finals, the heroes of that story were the Derek Whites, were the Jaylen Browns, and it was Kristaps Porzingis getting healthy, like all these sort of things. Like, Jason Tatum did, like, he wasn't bad, and like it wasn't any way the story of like, God, we have to overcome him. But at no point was it like, this is our leader and we're all following him into battle kind of situation.
100%. Papa thoughts.
Luka had more moments in last year's postseason run than Tatum's had in any postseason run combined, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you can look at, you know, a plethora of games where Luka took over, you know, especially that Gobert shot where he put him on skates. What am I gonna point at Tatum and say, wow, he won that game for the Celtics? It's like, no, their team is so good that they didn't, 100%. You know, they could, he's good enough, you know, he did his part. But it's not like he's the main reason they're winning the championship, you know?
100%. And remember, in the finals, guys, his shooting percentage was so low and pathetic. Like, people are like they felt bad that they couldn't give Tatum the finals MVP. They're like, we have to give it to Jaylen Brown. We have to. Like, he literally fought the case to not win when he should have. He's easily the favorite and who they wanted to give it to. Couldn't give it to him. He didn't play well. He just shot like shit. It was pathetic.
Piggybacking both your guys' points there, at no point in that final series did it feel like he was the best player on the court. No. At times it was Luka, at times it was Jaylen Brown, at times it was whoever else you want to pick. It never felt like he was the guy. So whatever the advanced metrics tell you, even just the casual ball watchers, the eye test is always the true thing. And that it just is what it is, which isn't to say, you know, he's not great, but they've done a weird job of marketing both him and Jaylen Brown because they can't remember Jaylen Brown was on the team first. He was the number 3 overall pick from Cal before Tatum follows him up as the number 3 pick out of Duke. And so they've been running mates this whole time. And there's been this weird jostling where it felt like the NBA media almost wanted to give it to Jason Tatum before he rightfully kind of assumed that role over Jaylen Brown. And then, you know, it was like a course correction by giving Jaylen Brown the finals MVP. And then you get Jaylen Brown no show, no invite, but you get Derek White to the Olympic team. It's been a weird thing they've had going with both of them this whole time. And by the way, while it's all going on, Jason Tatum's the highest paid player in the league, so he can relax a little bit. Jaylen Brown, by the way, is the second highest paid player in the league. They both are getting exactly what they asked for. Everyone can chill.
They're making $600 million combined. Like, that's... I've never even heard of something like that. I guess now we can say in baseball, but teammates don't even make that. Do we have 2 Dodgers that combined for 600 now? Like, how? Maybe
well, yeah, Shohei at 700. But
that's a good. So baseball does it, but no other sports even comes close.
They're the only team that does it too.
Yeah, exactly. So. The whole thing is so bizarre, too, because it's like, what are you doing? You're just digging your hole even more, Jason Tatum. Fuck you and fuck the Celtics. Fuck Boston. Like, my God, you guys, make yourselves hateable. I got David Smerlin here in the chat. He says, Big Papa in the house. And it says, Mavs fans will be crying after tonight's game. Luka's dropping 40. I mean,
I can see 77, 77, and 77 game tonight.
That's so awesome. All right, so moving forward, this news is not very surprising, but we're moving a little bit NFL. I saw Tone hop in the waiting room. I wanted to get him in here, but he ran away. He flew off, so we'll wait for him to come back. But Jamar Chase will be the highest paid non-QB, according to the Bengals. Thoughts? What do we think? What does this mean for the future of the Bengals? Jack, I know you'll know that world a little better. But tell me, what do you think? Can the Bengals keep everyone? Oh, here's Tone. Tone. Gone. Try it one more time. Tone. Oh, God, now my headset's messed up. There he is. You guys go.
Just dropped in. We were talking Jamar Chase here, Lance, and my response to that is, so far, so good for the Bengals. Joe Burrow went out, said he's going to restructure his contract. and him and the GM have been in lockstep on all the offseason moves they want to do, with the priority being retaining their core, which is the guys in question this offseason. You got Jamar Chase, who looks like that deal is going to be done, no issues. T. Higgins, there sounds like they're going to put a franchise tag on him. That deadline's coming up in the next 2 weeks. Now, franchise tag, again, we've talked about it on the show. It's going to piss off T. Higgins, who's looking for a long-term deal. The good news, all it does is give them basically exclusive rights to deal with him in the meantime, and hopes that they get a long-term deal done between now and training camp. So fingers crossed. So far out of T. Higgins' camp, it's been positive that deal is underway and they're going to get a chance. And then on the other side, you got the edge rusher, Hendrickson, who I just watched an interview with him, and he said the same thing. He's hoping to get a deal done and early so as not to be a problem as they head into mini camps and preseason and set out on what should be a serious Super Bowl run from the Bengals this year. Anything less than that would be an utter failure in my eyes.
Awesome. Okay, so real quick, I know me, Papa, and Jack Tone, we talked about a quote that came out of NBA, and I know you're an NBA guy, so I got to just hear your opinion quickly on this. Jason Tatum came out and said he doesn't feel appreciated by NBA fans, claims if you took names away and compared resumes by player A to player B, that he would have a lot more respect. What are your thoughts on the entirety of that quote, what he's saying, and Jason Tatum and himself, the Celtics? Let me hear it.
That's kind of I mean, that sounds like an overflow from the Olympics or something. I don't know. Underappreciated. I think for me and from what I hear in the sports world and how people talk about him, I feel like he's ranked right there where he should be. I think people look at him as an all-star, as a superstar on his team. I feel like a lot of people feel like he's better than Jalen. And Jalen Brown is a phenomenal player. He finals MVP and blah, blah, blah. But I think the finals MVP and the Olympics, I think that has a lot to do with that kind of stuff, if you ask me.
So what do you think about him coming out and saying something that he doesn't feel appreciated or respect? Do you think that would earn someone like him more respect, or do you think the rest of everyone's kind of just thinking he's a cornball and what the hell are you saying?
Yeah, I think in today's NBA, that kind of stuff will come back and bite you in your ass. Even with the organizations and franchises, man, they'll keep it moving. It's so many. Unfortunately, there's other Jason Tatums in the league. I mean,
Well, hey, 100%. Amen. I agree. All right.
And we made it pretty clear too, Tone. Like the NBA fans will tell you who the stars and who they aren't. And for whatever reason, he's just not a needle mover. He's been a little bit boring his entire career, but the idea that he's undervalued, he's the highest paid player in the league. He's, Vegas has Celtics ranked as the finals favorites right now. So I think he's very well appreciated.
I think another thing that he lacks that people like him don't understand, and I think Devin Booker falls into the same category, they just don't have that flair. Like, they're not as marketable as certain players. And I think that's what adds in that other, separating factor.
Yeah,
like who's walking around with
Doncic gene? Yeah,
who's walking around with the Tatums on their feet?
Yeah, very well said.
I'll tell you that. All right, so I got a question for you guys. This actually leads into a good point, and I know we were in the Jamar Chase stuff, but 1 second. This is NBA again. So there was comments. Anthony Edwards was talking about he doesn't want to be the face of the league, and there's always these conversations like, oh, who's the next face? Who's the next face? And I heard, I don't know where I saw it, but someone was arguing, why would you want to be the face of the NBA? We've seen LeBron James for the past 20 years and all the criticism, all the scrutiny, whether you agree with it or not. I know Papa is one of his biggest haters back in the day, so but so they kind of make this argument, why would you want to be the face of the league? If you just are under this magnifying scope and all this stuff, what are your guys' thoughts? What do we think?
So the easiest answer is because you want to be a billionaire. The last three faces of the league were all billionaires. You go back through LeBron, a little bit of Kobe, who if we still had him would be crushing that threshold right now. And then certainly Jordan is a billion a few times over.
And even Magic. You can even go back. Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to be a billionaire. It's nice to be the face of the league. Having said, now these guys all sign $300 million contracts anyway, especially if they're homegrown guys. Like, all of them are going to end up making $200 to $500 million in career earnings, not having to be the face of the league. And I'm not the smartest guy, but there's some conservative bonds we can be putting that stuff in and be a billionaire no time soon. So I just think, well, I agree. In today's day and age, there's a level of fame. I don't know why you'd want it.
That's a valid point. Anyone got anything else?
It's kind of a tough question because, I feel like you have to be a certain breed to be the face of the league, even if you want it or not. You can want it, but it's more forced upon you, I feel, than anything. Like, you got to earn that right to be the face of the league. And I don't really see that out of any one of the younger generation so far. No one's been a LeBron, no one's been a Kobe, no one's been, a Jordan. Like, there is none of that guy right now where you're like, okay, there's guys that are upper echelon of the league, like Luka and Jokic, but Jokic obviously doesn't want to be face of the league. You got to have that flair. Like, you got to have something, and none of these guys have it right now, I feel like.
I've also heard, and this was on ESPN, I think it was Stephen A. that said it. They said they don't really think or believe a non-American could be the face of the NBA. What are and I agreed with it because it made sense, like the homegrown in the United States, kind of the United States swag, like what comes from over here isn't really the same in Europe. And if you're going to be the face of the NBA, like you coming out of the US, it makes the most sense. What are you guys' thoughts around that stuff?
I mean, he also said Shohei couldn't be the face of the MLB, and I feel that's
a good point.
I feel like Stephen A. is kind of a hater in that sense. Like, Luka, if Luka does his stuff with the Lakers, he could become that guy. Like, Luka's one guy where I could see being an international player coming over and being the face of the league. Right now, it's not there. Maybe Cooper Flag, if he's, up there, like, could be, but the homegrown does play a factor.
I see tone.
Go ahead, Tone.
There's one answer to that, and I double back on the Stephen A. comment. He's a freaking hater. Oh my God, Stephen A. But after LeBron leaves, Giannis did a good job. Jokic, he doesn't have the flair, but point stats wise or whatever. But there's one name that simply I feel like will be the face of the league, is going to be the face of the league, and is going to show people the international side. Victor Wembanyama, he is gonna blow things out of the water, from sneaker sales, jersey sales, to maybe movies, to his interaction with kids, different type of giant walking around. He's an alien. He's already has the alien logo, which fits perfect for marketing. He's an alien. I just feel Victor is gonna be, he's that guy where he's sophisticated enough. We haven't seen this kind of superstar yet. So kids can look like him. They can go get their haircut like him. He has a lot of different small factors that are so marketable. It's out of this world.
And we haven't had the big guy in a while. Like, I remember like the days, like Kareem wasn't necessarily that guy as a personality, but just being that guy walking around every place. Still today, if Kareem's on the floor, we spend 15 minutes of the broadcast talking about him. And yeah, it's Wembanyama behind the microphone, being the face of the young kind of generation of the league, even so far. That's a great take. Now he's got to go win. He's got to go win an early championship, and he's got to be on some kind of trajectory that says, he's going to be. We start getting in legacy conversations. That's when you start to take it over. When it's like, where is he going to rank on the Mount Rushmore next to some of these guys? And I was an early hater on Wemby just because I was being a contrarian, and everyone was like, it's either he's better than Hakeem Olajuwon or it's a complete bust. And I was like, let's sit tight a second. And I all of a sudden started watching this guy fucking off the dribble, 30 feet away from the basket, and it's like, okay, Jesus Christmas.
From Wembanyama's beginning, I've been saying this guy's he's Kareem 2.0. It's like history's repeating itself. I mean, when Kareem came into the NBA, it was nothing anyone had ever seen. Just freakazoid 7'2", hitting skyhooks, doing whatever. Yeah. Wait, what'd you say, Jack?
They outlawed the dunk for a season. It was illegal to dunk the basketball, which is why the skyhook became big, because he was throwing the ball down. You couldn't block it.
now it's now, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know, but is Kareem full American?
Yeah.
He's,
What is Abdul Jabbar? What is the?
So he's originally Lou
Alcindor.
Yeah,
but that still sounds kind of foreign if you ask me.
Let's see where my man's from.
Kareem looks foreign. He looks mixed. He looks, but another thing with Victor, I think a lot of people are already forgetting that he's foreign. I mean, Victor, to a lot of people, he's coming off as American.
Yeah. No, I mean, Victor Wembanyama, he's a freak. I know Kareem, I think they come out of New York. Like, they're just...
Yeah, it's New York City. I just looked it up. Which, in fairness, New York City is probably the
It's
the
a melting pot.
Yeah.
You know.
100%. No, but...
As long as it comes from Utah, I think we're in the clear there.
Yeah, I mean, he changes his name kind of the same way Cassius Clay becomes Muhammad Ali. It was to avoid the Vietnam War draft, thoughts about it. I'm not a big Vietnam War guy, so honestly, I kind of agree with him. But, it's an argument to be had. All right.
But Elvis Presley on that list as well, just to be fair.
Yeah, hey, yeah, exactly. All right, all right, boys, we all know what tonight is. It's game one of a new rivalry that's been forced on to us by, I think, a great GM now, who I used to hate on for a while, Rob Pelinka. He made a great move in getting us Luka Doncic. So, Lakers, Mavericks, game one of this new rivalry. I think we are about to unanimously agree on a take here, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts. How does Luka and the Lake Show look tonight? How do the Mavericks look tonight? And the spread is 9.5 right now, Lakers.
I'll throw my hat in the ring here. I mean, firstly, I don't think it's not the game it's hyped out to be with all these guys out for the Mavericks, but Doncic still has something to prove. He's angry. We're gonna see him go ballistic tonight. I think over 30, which is his line, is, I think he'll clear that maybe at 40. I think he'll probably have 8 assists, 8 rebounds, something like that. And I don't see it being very close at the end of the game. I could see 15 point, 20 point even. I just don't see him being very happy right now. You know what I mean? The guy's angry and he has something to prove.
100%. Yeah, personally, my worries about his overs is that if the Lakers beat the shit out of him and just dominate them, which could happen. I mean, it's a banged up Mavericks team. They're on the road. I mean, they're not themselves, and I'm not, I will dog on them. Lakers are better. So if we beat the shit out of them, Luka doesn't hit his overs because he gets sat by the third quarter.
Does he want to sit even though? Like, I could see him just playing, just to play. You know what I mean? Like, I could see him go to JJ and be like, put me in, dude.
I'm not that.
There you go.
Him and Bronny could get some playing time together tonight. Who knows?
Some Bronny, Luka, and Bronny. Or Bron, Luka, and Bronny. Jack, what are your thoughts? How do you see the game going tonight? Like, what do we think?
Sometimes the hype games, when it's the return game, it's not always the best because it's just so heightened and focused. Like, if you just divert from that a hair, like, my instinct is probably to take Luka's assist numbers on this bad boy. Again, this Mavericks team, they just got beat up by the Warriors, so I don't quite know where they're at tonight. They're a tough team for me to bet on right now because I think when they play focused, committed hoop, like they're fucking organized as a team. I know Luka dragged them there, but they were in the finals last year. It's a good roster, and it's Kyrie Irving playing against LeBron, which he always gets up for.
And very well coached. Jason Kidd's a very good coach in the NBA.
I think I worry about this spread a little bit because every time I've put the Lakers in this spot all year, it feels like the Nuggets were a healthy surprise, right? This is the one we expect them to go dominate. This is the game I've gotten burned on all season. So I'm a little bit looking for my other side of the action here, where it's like maybe it's an Austin Reeves night. I don't know. I want to see the guy just go nuclear. I want to see the guy fucking – and he just started to pop off against the Nuggets. Maybe this is the night he does it. I think for a fact, though, we're going to know about Luka 7 minutes into the game. I think by the time his first shift's over, we're going to know what kind of night it is for him. Because I think he's going to test it early. I think he's taken 6 shots in the first 6 minutes, 3 of them from deep. I think he's going to test the waters early.
Hey, I love it. Tone, any final thoughts? Lakers, Mavericks, what do we think?
Yeah, definitely. I got the unpopular opinion. I see 40 plus from Bron tonight. I see 10 plus assists from Luka. I see a 20 piece from Christie over on the Mavs. And I see a W with the Lakers. And if the spread was 21.5, I would take it.
I love the Christie take.
Yeah. The Christie take is awesome. That's beautiful. My fucking headset. Once again.
minutes. Back to our Luka assist now.
Man, I just can't get this goddamn headset to work, boys. It just keeps going in and out. Give me 1 second. What the fuck? Keep going. Lakers Mavericks over. Carry on to the Jamar Chase topic or something. I'll keep trying to fix my headset. This is my bad. Yeah.
Basically a 28 mil haircut. Probably for Terran Armstead. And now all of a sudden, the Dolphins, I feel terrible for Mike McDaniel because there was thought he was going to get Tua over the hump and that whole deal. Tua's been back from a ligament in his wrist, who also kind of requested a trade. They've kind of been mum on that. They're going to have to replace both safeties in their secondary, a corner. Now you're replacing your left tackle with a second-round draft pick. It's this feels like it could be the end for Mike McDaniel, and it's tough because he was a young, hot, upstart coach. He's going to have to go the old Cliff Kingsbury path on his way back and have to go OC someplace again before he gets to go again. My thought.
Yeah, no, 100%. You know, they thought they posted him as the next McVay, and you know, sadly, the pieces just weren't there to really do it. I don't think he got the fairest shot to get that, but you know, at the end of the day, it's it's a winning league. You got to win to make a name for yourself, and you know, the Rams could look very different next year. I don't know what's going on with Stafford. I really don't. I think they're pretty upset with trading Cup, and he wants out and he wants a lot of money. I don't know if you guys talked about this already, but
no, we have not. My headset's working again. Thank God, finally. I don't know what the hell was going on there. Where are we? Do we talk Armstead? We got that?
We just got Armstead in. Now we're pivoting that to just Rams and then just in general where teams sit because Combine's coming up. Combine's is it this Thursday?
Yeah.
Combine's this Thursday.
We'll see some good stuff there. Yeah, Shadur Sanders sitting out, working out. Cam Ward, I think, is going to throw. Shadur, this was never a question. This was just a matter of when it was going to get announced. I think Shadur was going to go run a 4.85. I really don't think that kid can run. I think he throws the shit out of it, but I worry for his life that he's going to get drafted by this Giants team that cannot protect him and cannot get right in a way between now and then to protect him. We thought Caleb Williams had it bad. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I've heard McMillan slipping through some people's draft stock right now too. I've heard
really
they just don't want the separation right now.
So he's got to go run the 4.4 something to hold firm as the number one receiver prospect in this draft. If he goes anything 4.5 or higher, he's gonna drift. I think these Texas kids, Tone, are gonna go burn it up. They're gonna raise their draft stock a little bit. Egbuka is going to run a 4 or Mbuka, sorry, from Ohio State's going to go run 4.3 something. So there's some guys out there. It's an interesting draft. The meat's kind of in the middle of this draft.
Yeah, I feel like it's a very heavy running back class, which we haven't seen in forever. There's guys that like the 8th wide running back taken could be a stud this year.
We rattled off 20 names during the Senior Bowl of guys I think will make 53-man rosters next year. So it's a freak show running back class, which is why it's crazy to hear some of this rumor mill come out and say Ashton Genty is getting treated as a Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey type prospect because I don't see the receiving from him. And so it was a weird year for the NFL. It's kind of trending back to more of the run game. None of the top 10 or 7 receivers in the league made it past the first round of the playoffs this year. A lot of them didn't even make the playoffs. And all the top running backs were there late, between Derrick Henry and this freak year from Saquon, obviously, and what they started to get going up in Buffalo and all this stuff. So it's interesting. It might swing back. You might see Genty creep up there and be, especially if there's not that go-to receiver, he might be the offensive skill player we see go early.
Bam. Well, there it is. There are the thoughts. Those are all the topics I had for today, boys. So anyone have any final thoughts, or are we going to start throwing out picks? I know I didn't tell you to prepare Pop, so you're going to have to come up with a pick off the top of your head and just love it and own it. Tone, you as well. You're going to have picks. I got mine right here, Jack. I'll go first. I got a little parlay, folks. So let's get right. Let's hit one. Starting off, Cavs -7.5 at Magic. The Cavs are just freaking good. Jalen Suggs isn't back yet, so the Magic are still a guy or two short. So I love the Cavs here, and we're going Cavs. Next, Bucks money line against the Rockets. So earlier in the year, I would 100% bet on the Rockets, but why I'm now going Bucks is because at this time in the season is when I'm expecting the Rockets to kind of slip a little into the 4, 5, maybe 6 seat. 6 is a little, but right down in there, because as this playoff time starts going, the playoff experience, I mean, the Lakers are going to keep going up. Warriors are going to come start sneaking up. There's a couple like the Wolves. So I think I see the Rockets falling. I have them losing tonight. Next, Lakers money line. Of course, it's an easy one. Doing that again against the Mavericks. Really hope that doesn't come back to bite me in the ass. And I actually go over LeBron 24.5 points. Luka over 9.5 rebounds because, like they said in the interview, the pressers, Luka's the natural quarterback and LeBron's the natural receiver. Well, for that to happen, Luka's got to get a rebound and throw an outlet to a down the court LeBron. So I like Luka over 9.5 rebounds. Also like Luka over 1.5 steals plus blocks because I think he's just going to be engaged tonight all night long and playing as hard as he can against his former team that's talking shit, calling him fat. So I love that one. And last but not least, Dorian Finney-Smith over a half steal or block because he's also a former Maverick that got traded to the Nets during the Kyrie trade. So he will also be on his get back mission with Luka, and that's the parlay. That's what are our thoughts? We think a little here, we think a little here.
I love it. I honestly love it. I just looked at the board. I'm not gonna. I'll add to your parlay because this line, it's a little funky. I know we just talked a whole lot of crap on Jason Tatum, but the Celtics -11 looks really good to me against Toronto. I mean, they've been blowing out teams left and right. They just blew out the Knicks. They blew out the Sixers. They blew out the Spurs. They blew out the Heat. They beat all these good teams by over double digits. Like, what's going to change? They're going to go to Toronto and, lay a stinker? I don't see that. Toronto's not good. And I can't see that. Maybe a 10-point win. They barely backdoor cover, but I think the Celtics just blow them out.
I like that. I like that one, especially because they lost to them earlier in the season because the Celtics they started off the season hot as shit, had a weird middle stretch where they're kind of just playing to the skill level of their opponents, not playing bad, but just not the dominance that we've seen, especially last season. But like you said, they've started to pick it up and are blowing the shit out of teams. So Papa, I love it. Jack.
I got to bring us back to some college hoops here. Got New Mexico on the road at San Diego State. New Mexico is my favorite mid. San Diego State. I'm not following this Texas Tech line of logic I did last night. I'm just trusting my eyes and taking the better team. Give me New Mexico there. Santa Clara versus Gonzaga, playing a fun one. Santa Clara kind of overachieving, down here for Gonzaga. It's going to be the second time they play each other. They're getting them at home. They're getting 6 points. I'll take the 6 and hope we get a great game out of them tonight. Iowa at Illinois. Illinois lost their best freshman. Wrist injury. Remains to be seen if he's going to be back, but they've been on this weird slide, now unranked after being a top 10 team and mostly ranked the entire season. Iowa's getting 8.5 on the road over there. Feels like a ton for this Illinois team. Maybe it's a get right game for them. It just feels like too much, and it's like early season respect for a team that's just not there right now. Louisville -6.5 at Virginia Tech. I love this Louisville team. I'm saying right now, this is a Sweet 16 team come March Madness. If you guys get a chance just to peek at it, it's not going to be a great game because Louisville's going to beat the shit out of them. But watch Chucky Hepburn, watch the on-ball pressure these guys give. They play their ass off. Might be my favorite, the best coach team I've seen play this year. And there's guys like Penny Hardaway and the way Houston plays and some of these guys. This Louisville team, from where they've been to where they're seemingly returning to, it's awesome. The Louisville team's nice. And then Minnesota versus Northwestern. Minnesota's just been a hard-playing bad team all year. Northwestern lost their leading scorer, a guy that was on the tops of the Big Ten, and since then have been a bad basketball team. It's Minnesota at home, and for whatever reason, they're just playing hard in spite of playing for nothing. I dig them. They're getting 1.5. I like them money line right there. A couple other random ones at you guys. Hornets Warriors over 219.5. This Hornets team has become a freak show ever since beating the Lakers. They got beat by 50 by the Heat. They got blown out again the other night. I see this as an unserious game. I see it just kind of LiAngelo Ball covering me in the last couple of minutes because we're just having a freak show.
LiAngelo.
What I just said. Oh, my bad. See? Tone, this is why you got to keep me right. Mel, our boy Mel. Going Bucks +3.5 at Houston. Lance tailing you on that one. Bucks have won 5 of the last 7, including their last straight 4. Since adding Kyle Kuzma and Kevin Porter Jr. Also a little sneaky return game tonight for KPJ. No Bobby Portis, no problem apparently for the Bucks. I think they actually win this one outright, but I'll take the points just in case we get screwed late. And then was looking for my best spot to pop into the Luka fuck you game, and I'm going to take the assist. I like what Tone had to say. Going Luka over the 8.5 assists.
All right, Tone, bring it home. What do we got?
All righty. I'm going to run it down. I got a few different ones, but I'm going to start off with the Lake Show. Like I said, Max Christie on points. Bron on points, definitely over. Again, I wish I had a 40-point boosted line for a boosted pay or something. I would take the 40 on Bron tonight. Lakers W, Lakers on the spread. Luka with the assist, like I said. Jackson Hayes, I think he's going to eat on the board, so I'll take his rebounds. Over in college basketball, now I'll take Day for Cincinnati. I'll take him for PRA, points, rebounds, assist. I'll take him, and then I'll take Ziegler over on Tennessee. I'll take him for points tonight. And then my wild take, NHL, I'm going with Montreal for the W.
I love it, Tone. I love Ziegler, by the way. Back and healthy. I love that pick for me right there. And I love that Cincinnati team. Don't know Day as well, but I love that Cincinnati team.
Yep.
All right.
One more. My bad. But Jack, I would take also. I wish I had a bet line on the Shador 40. I would fade yours. I'm going under the 4.8. I think he's gonna come in the 4.6 area as well. Let me throw that out there.
Lance, will you trade me and do the outro for us just so I can sneak up and look at Shador Sanders' rushing numbers from the season for Tone really quick? Because it'll blow your mind. It'll blow your mind.
Oh, I sure can. Well, there you have it, folks. This was the Wanna Parlay podcast, home of all things Wanna Parlay, home of the $2 parlay and the world's richest parlay, where every day people are turning $2 into $2,000. It was great chopping up with Pops and Tone today. The absolute boys, legend, last second Pops, and Tone just for sure guy on here. It was a great one a week, but as always on Monday, it's a Tuesday, so the slate is cleaned. All the big fun prizes are up for grabs, including the main event prize of $2,000, which once again only costs you $2 to enter. I didn't have many winners yesterday. I think a pick 2 and a pick 3. So we need more production out of the folks here at Wanna. We need to be better. We'll be back at the same time Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, celebrating hopefully more Wanna winners and ramping up our college and NBA hoops coverage. Jack, let's hear the rushing numbers and let's get on out of here.
Yeah, just really quick. Sacks 42 times. He had 100 carries on the season for a total of minus 50 yards for an average of minus a half yard per carry. Negative 50 yards in his 2024 campaign. You hate to see it. I worry about the legs, Tone.
Do they have a stat line on genetics at least?
Hey, I played with his older brother at SMU, and he could fucking fly. So I'm with you.
I'm hoping, man.
Yeah.
All right, well, awesome stuff today. Everyone in the chat, appreciate you showing up and showing out. Like I said, Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Jeremy Cantor, thank you for the shout out on that Finney Smith extended hefty grudge. Had to make that call out. And we're also going to shout out Jax on KPJ and the slight little return to the Houston Rockets. That one as well. That was a good call out. Folks, like I said, Thursday, see you there. Thanks for stopping by. See ya.